The rain doesn't fall. It attacks. It slams against the cafe window like the night itself is angry at anyone still brave enough to sit inside and hope. Daniel flinches when thunder rolls low in the distance, not because of the sound, but because the woman across from him just checked her phone for the third time in 5 minutes. Her smile is tight now, polite, practiced, the kind of smile people use when they already know how they're going to leave. Daniel's reflection stares back at him in the dark glass of the window, not the man from magazine covers, not the man from boardrooms and penthouses and glowing screens. This version wears a faded jacket with a loose thread near the cuff, a cheap watch that ticks too loud in the silence, a wallet that feels thin in his pocket. Even though it doesn't need to be, he chose it this way. He always does. The woman clears her throat. "So, what do you do again?" she asks, though he already told her. "I work with buildings," Daniel says. Her eyes flick down to the cracked table between them, the chipped coffee cup, the old menu with faded letters. "Like maintenance?" she asks. He nods. "Something like that." Her phone buzzes. She glances at it like it just saved her. "Oh, my friend. She's not feeling well. I should probably go check on her." Daniel forces a smile. "Of course." She stands fast. Too fast. Grabs her coat. "It was nice meeting you." "It was," he lies. She's gone before the door even finishes closing behind her, the bell above it chiming softly, like it's apologizing for her. Daniel doesn't move. He stares at the empty chair across from him. He's seen this moment so many times. It feels like part of his life now. The pause, the quiet, the space where someone could have been. He reaches into his wallet and pulls out a few worn bills. Enough for the coffee. Enough for the lie. His hand hesitates before placing them on the table. Like even the money is tired pretending. Outside, the rain soaks the street, turning the pavement into a mirror of broken lights and passing cars. Across the street, a dark SUV waits with its engine running. Inside, a small face presses against the window. His daughter, Lily. Her stuffed bear is tucked under her arm, its fur worn thin in places where she's held it too tight. Her eyes search for him through the rain, through the glass, through the world that always seems too big for her. Daniel stands and walks out into the cold. The rain hits his face, and he doesn't bother to wipe it away. Lily's door opens before he even reaches the car. Did she stay this time? Lily asks, her voice small, hopeful. Daniel pauses. He hates this part. He hates that his daughter knows the pattern. He hates that she's learned to ask the question at all. "She had to go," he says gently. Lily nods like she understands, but her eyes fall to her bear. "That's okay," she whispers. "Maybe the next one will like you." Daniel swallows. He crouches down in the rain, level with her. "It's not about liking me," he says. "It's about people seeing the real thing." Lily frowns. "But you are the real thing." He almost laughs, almost cries. He kisses her forehead and closes the door, the sound echoing his chest as he walks back toward the cafe. Inside, the warmth hits him first, then the smell of coffee, then the quiet hum of a place that's seen 1,000 lonely nights just like his. He heads back to his table, but before he can sit, he hears footsteps behind him. "Hey!" a voice says. He turns. She stands there holding 2 cups of coffee, steam rising into her face. Her uniform is faded at the edges. Her shoes look like they've walked too many long shifts. Her name tag reads Amara. The letters are scratched, like they've been rubbed by time and tired hands. "I didn't see you leave," she says. "So I figured you could use a refill." Daniel looks at the cups, then at her. "You don't have to do that." She shrugs. Some nights need a little extra. She places 1 cup in front of him, careful, like the table might break if she isn't gentle. She doesn't look at the empty chair. She doesn't look at the money. She looks at his face. "Rough day?" she asks. The words hit him harder than the rain did. Daniel opens his mouth to give the usual answer, the one he's practiced, the one that keeps the world simple. But nothing comes out. His shoulders drop. His breath leaves him in a slow, tired exhale, like he's been holding it for years. "Yeah," he says. "It's been a long one." Amara nods like she understands more than he said. Those are the worst, she replies. The kind that don't end when the clock says they should. She pulls out the chair across from him, without asking, and sits. The cafe around them fades into noise and movement and clinking cups, but their table feels still, like the world decided to pause just for a second. I'm Amara, she says. Daniel. Daniel. She repeats, like she's testing how it sounds. You don't look like the kind of guy who likes being alone. He almost laughs again. I don't think anyone does. She tilts her head. Then why do you keep coming here by yourself? The question is simple. The answer isn't. Daniel stares into his coffee, watching the steam rise and disappear. I guess I'm trying to figure out who sees me when there's nothing to see. Amara's brow furrows. There's always something to see. Not always, he says. She looks at him for a long moment. Not at his jacket. Not at his watch. Not at the bills on the table. At him. Well, she says softly, I see someone who looks tired. And someone who looks like he cares about the people outside more than the ones who walk away. Daniel's chest tightens. He thinks of Lily in the car. The bear. The rain. The question she asked. How did you know? He asks. Amara nods toward the window. You went out into the storm without grabbing your coat. People don't do that unless someone out there matters more than they do. Silence falls between them. But it's not empty. It's full. Full of things unsaid. Full of things almost said. Daniel takes a sip of the coffee. It's too hot. He doesn't mind. You always sit with strangers? He asks. She smiles. Only the ones who look like they need it. The door to the cafe opens, letting in another gust of rain and cold. A couple walks past their table, laughing, shaking water from their jackets. Daniel watches them for a second, then looks back at Amara. Most people leave when they think there's nothing to gain, he says. Amara leans back in her chair. Maybe some of us aren't looking to gain anything. Outside, Lily presses her face to the window again, watching her father sit across from a woman who isn't standing up, who isn't reaching for her phone, who isn't looking for the door. Daniel doesn't see her yet. He's too busy looking at Amara, too busy feeling something he hasn't felt in a long time. Hope. The rain keeps falling. The night keeps moving. But at one small table in a quiet cafe, a man who hid behind empty pockets and a woman the world barely noticed sit across from each other. And for the first time in a long time, neither of them feels invisible. And somewhere between the steam of cheap coffee and the sound of rain on glass, a story begins that neither of them knows will change everything. Daniel keeps coming back. Not for the coffee that tastes the same every night. Not for the corner table that always wobbles when someone leans too hard. He comes back for the way Amara looks up when she sees him walk through the door, for the small lift in her eyes, for the way her tired shoulders seem to ease, just a little like the night got lighter because he showed up. Some nights, the rain is there. Some nights, it isn't. But Amara is always moving, always carrying trays, always wiping tables, always run between the kitchen and the floor like the world is chasing her, and she can't slow down or it will catch her. Daniel watches her from his seat, hands wrapped around a warm cup, thinking about how easy it is for people to disappear when no one is looking close enough. When she finally sits across from him, it's never for long. Just a few minutes stolen from a shift that never seems to end. But in those minutes, the world feels quieter. My brother needs new books, she tells him one night, staring into her coffee instead of at him. They change the school list again. Every year it costs more. Daniel nods. He doesn't offer to pay. He doesn't reach for his wallet. He just listens. He lets her words land where they land. And my manager, she adds, her voice dropping. He says if I'm late one more time, he's cutting my hours. Like I'm choosing to be late. Like buses don't break down. Like life doesn't happen. Daniel's jaw tightens. He feels something rise in him. Something old. Something sharp. He swallows it down. I'm trying to teach my daughter something, he says after a moment. That people matter more than money. That how you treat someone is worth more than what you can buy. Amara looks up at him then. Really looks. That's a hard lesson, she says. Yeah, he replies. But I think it's the only one that lasts. They sit in silence for a beat. The cafe hums around them. Cups clink. Someone laughs too loud near the door. Outside, a car passes, headlights flashing to the window like a reminder that the world keeps moving, even when you want it to stop. Daniel never talks about his company. Never talks about the towers that reach into the sky. Never talks about the rooms where people wait for him to speak so they can write down every word. Here, he is just Daniel, a man with a tired face and a cheap jacket, and a daughter waiting in a car across the street. Amara is just Amara, a woman with worn shoes and a name tag that's been rubbed in by time and fingers. Two people the world doesn't stop for. Two people sitting at a table that no one else wants. One night, the cafe is busier than usual. A group of well-dressed people take the big table near the window. Their voices carry. Their laughter fills the room. One of them, a man in a sharp suit with a watch that glints under the lights, keeps glancing over at Daniel and Amara like they're part of furniture. Daniel reaches for his wallet when the check comes. His fingers fumble. The worn bills slip and fall to the floor. The sound is small, but in the quiet that follows, it feels loud. The man in the suit chuckles. Not softly, not to himself. Out loud. If you can't afford a date, he says, leaning back in his chair, don't waste your time. The words hang in the air. Every table goes still. Forks pause. Cups stop halfway mouths. Even the kitchen noise seems to fade. Daniel feels his face burn. He looks down at the floor, at the bills scattered near his shoe, like the truth he's been hiding just got dragged into the light. He doesn't move. He doesn't speak. Amara does. She stands up so fast her chair scrapes against the floor. The sound cuts through the silence like a line being drawn. He's not wasting anything, she says, her voice steady but loud enough for the whole room to hear. He's here. That's more than most people give. The man in the suit blinks. He wasn't ready for that. He looks around, waiting for someone to laugh. No one does. Daniel feels something hit his chest. Hard. A tightness he doesn't know what to do with. No one has ever stood up for him like that. Not in boardrooms. Not in meetings. Not in rooms where his name opens every door. Here, in a small cafe with chipped cups and faded menus, a woman with nothing to gain just put herself between him and the world. Amara bends down and helps him pick up the bills. Their fingers brush. She looks at him and gives a small nod, like she's saying, I've got you. Daniel pays. They sit back down, but the air between them is different now. Thicker. Warmer. He wants to say something. Thank you. I don't deserve that. You shouldn't have to. But the words don't come out right. So he just says, I'm glad you're here. Amara smiles. It's tired, but it's real. Me too. Later, Daniel watches her get called over by the manager, a tall man with a tight smile and eyes that don't soften. He leans in close to her. Too close. Daniel can't hear the words, but he can see the way Amara's shoulders stiffen, the way her hands curl at her sides. The manager glances toward Daniel's table, then back at her. He whispers something sharp. Amara shakes her head slightly, says something back. The manager's smile disappears. He leans in again, his mouth close to her ear. Daniel sees Amara's eyes drop to the floor. The manager steps away. Amara stands there for a moment, like she needs to remember how to breathe. Daniel's hands clench around his cup. He wants to stand up. He wants to walk over. He wants to say something. He wants to use the voice he uses in other rooms, the one that makes people listen. But here, he's just Daniel, a man with a cheap jacket and a thin wallet, a man pretending to be small. Amara comes back to the table. Her smile is back, but it's weaker now. Sorry, she says. Work stuff. Daniel studies her face, the tired lines around her eyes, the way she keeps glancing toward the manager, like she's waiting for something else to happen. What did he say? Daniel asks quietly. She hesitates, then shrugs. Just that I need to focus on customers who matter. Daniel's jaw tightens. You matter? Amara lets out a soft laugh. Tell him that. They sit in silence again. The kind that isn't comfortable. The kind that presses on you. The kind that makes you feel how heavy the world can be. Outside, Lily waits in the car, her bear tucked under her chin, watching her father through glass. She sees him sitting still. She sees the woman across from him. She doesn't hear the words. She just feels the space between them. Daniel looks at Amara and sees more than a waitress. He sees someone standing in the middle of a storm, holding her ground, even when the wind is pushing hard. Amara looks at Daniel and sees more than a man with no money. She sees someone who listens, someone who stays, someone who doesn't walk away when things get hard. Neither of them knows what's coming. Neither of them knows how close the truth is to breaking through the lie. The cafe lights flicker once, then steady. The manager watches from behind the counter. The man in the suit laughs again at his table, louder than before, like he owns the room. Daniel and Amara sit at their small table, hands wrapped around cooling coffee, feeling the weight of a world that keeps overlooking them. And somewhere in the quiet between their breaths, a line is being crossed. A moment is being set in motion. A truth is getting ready to step out of the shadows. Because nights like this don't end the way they begin. They end with something breaking. The next night doesn't arrive quietly. It arrives on a low hum of engines and the soft shine of black cars, lining the street like shadows with headlights. The rain is gone, but the air still feels heavy, like the sky is holding its breath. Men in dark suits stand near the cafe door, hands folded in front of them, eyes scanning the sidewalk. The windows glow warm behind them, but the warmth doesn't reach outside. Inside, the manager wipes the counter for the third time in a minute. His smile is tight. His eyes keep flicking toward the door. He doesn't know why, only that something feels off. Something feels like it's about to change. Daniel walks down the street in the same worn jacket he's worn every night. The same loose thread near the cuff. The same cheap watch ticking on his wrist. He passes the black cars without looking at them. He passes the men in suits like they aren't there. He pushes open the cafe door, and the bell above it rings, bright and small, cutting through the low noise of the room. Amara looks up from behind the counter. Her face lights up, then shifts, then settles somewhere in the middle. "You're early," she says, a small smile pulling at her lips. Daniel shrugs. "Couldn't sleep?" She pours him a coffee without asking, sets it on the table he always sits at, the one near the window, the one with the wobble. The cafe feels different tonight. Quieter. People talk in low voices. A couple of customers glance toward the door, then back at their cups, like they're not sure if they should stay. The manager steps out from behind the counter. He freezes when he sees Daniel. His face drains of color. The tight smile falls apart. He looks past Daniel. Through the window, at the black cars, at the men in suits. He rushes forward, almost stumbling over his own feet. "Mr. Cross," he says, his voice too loud, too shaky. "I didn't know it was you." The words hit the room like a drop plate. Silence spreads. Fast. Heavy. Forks stop halfway in mouths. Cups pause in midair. Every head turns. Daniel closes his eyes for a moment. Just a moment. Then he opens them. He reaches up and takes off the cheap watch. The one that ticks too loud. The one that never matched the rest of his life. He slips it into his pocket, like he's putting away a piece of a costume. "That's the point," he says quietly. Phones come out. Screens light up. Whispers ripple from table to table. Soft at first, then louder like a wave building. "That's him. The billionaire. The one on the news. The single dad who owns half the city." Amara stands still behind the counter. The coffee pot slips a little in her hand, then steadies. Her eyes are wide. Her breath is shallow. She steps out from behind the counter and walks toward Daniel. Slow, like the floor might move under her feet. "You lied to me," she says. Her voice isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. Daniel shakes his head. "I hid. There's a difference." Her hands tremble at her sides. "You let me talk about my life, about my brother, about my job, about being scared to lose it. And you sat there like you were just like me." "I am," he says, "in all the ways that matter." She looks at him like she's trying to find the man she thought she knew inside the one everyone else is seeing now. The manager clears his throat. "Mr. Cross, I'm so sorry. If I had known." Daniel turns to him. The room leans in. "You knew," Daniel says. His voice is calm. Steady, dangerous in a way that doesn't need to be loud. You knew exactly what you were doing when you told her to focus on customers who matter. You knew when you threatened her job because she chose kindness over profit. The manager swallows. I was just trying to run a business. Daniel nods. And she was just trying to be human. He looks around the room, at the faces, at the phones, at the people who laughed, at the people who stayed quiet. Power doesn't show up in how much you own, he says. It shows up in how you treat the person who can't walk away. Amara's eyes fill, but she doesn't let the tears fall. Daniel turns back to the manager. She deserves better. The words land. They don't echo. They don't need to. The men in suits near the door shift. One of them speaks softly into his phone. The manager's shoulders slump. He nods, like he understands or like he's pretending to. The night ends in pieces. People leave. Some stay. Some try to talk to Daniel. He doesn't listen. He watches Amara. She doesn't look at him. She finishes her shift like she always does. Wipes tables. Stacks cups. Moves through the space like the space still belongs to her, even as everything around her feels like it's changing. Outside, Lily waits in the car. Her bare pressed the glass. She sees the black cars. The men in suits. She sees her dad walk out of the cafe and stand on the streetlight, his face tired in a new way. She doesn't understand. She just feels that something big just happened. The next morning, the cafe opens with a different sign on the door. New owner. The manager doesn't stand behind the counter anymore. Amara does. She wears the same uniform, but something about her is different. Her back is straighter. Her eyes lift when people walk in. Her name tag still reads Amara, but now it feels like the world is finally reading it. People come in just to see her, just to say they were there that night, just to be close to the story. Daniel doesn't come in. He stands across the street, watching through the window. He sees her laugh with a customer. He sees her pour coffee. He sees her move through the space like it's hers now. He should feel proud. He should feel like he won. He doesn't. He feels the space between them. The line the truth drew. Amara steps outside on her break. The air is cool. The street is quiet. The black cars are gone. She sees Daniel across the road. They stand there, looking at each other, not moving. Cars pass between them. People walk by. The world keeps going. You changed everything, she says when he finally steps closer. So did you, he replies. She nods. I didn't ask for this. I know, he says. I didn't mean to make you a headline. I just didn't want you to be invisible. Her voice softens. I didn't want to be a story. I just want to be seen by you. Daniel's chest tightens. You were? Before, she says. Before I knew. Silence stretches between them. Heavy. Full. I don't know what this is now. Amara says. I don't know where I fit in your world. Daniel looks at the street. At the cafe. At the space between them. I don't know either. She turns to go back inside. Pauses. Looks over her shoulder. But I know one thing, she says. You showed me that someone like me can matter in a room full of power. That's something I'll carry, even if I walk away. She steps back into the cafe. The door closes behind her. The bell rings. Daniel stands alone on the sidewalk. The truth did what truth always does. It broke something. It built something. It left a question behind. And as Daniel watches a woman he cares about move through a world he just turned upside down, he learns that the hardest part of having power isn't using it. It's living with what it changes. Days pass like quiet footsteps in an empty hallway. No messages. No calls. Daniel checks his phone in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, like the screen might change his mind if he looks at it enough. It doesn't. The silence sits with him at the breakfast table. It rides with him in the back seat when he drives Lily to school. It follows him into rooms filled with people who say his name like it's a door that opens everything. None of it reaches the place where Amara used to be. Lily notices. Did you and the coffee lady stop being friends? She asks one night, her bear tucked under her chin, her eyes wide and honest. Daniel swallows. I don't know, he says. Sometimes people need space. Lily nods like she's thinking hard about that. Maybe you need to go find her, she says. Grown-ups forget things. Kids don't. The next morning, Lily finds a note. It's taped to the front gate, fluttering in the light breeze. The paper worn at the corners like it's been there all night. Lily pulls it down and runs inside, her feet pounding on the floor. Daddy, she calls. Someone left you a letter. Daniel takes it with hands that don't feel steady. He opens it slow, like it might disappear if he moves too fast. I don't care what you own. I care about who you were when you thought you had nothing. He reads it twice, 3 times. Each word feels like a hand on his chest, pushing and holding at the same time. Lily watches him. Is it from her? Daniel nods. Then you should go. Lily says like the answer is simple, like the world is easy. She holds out her bear. Take this, in case you get scared. Daniel almost laughs, almost cries. He takes the bear and sets it back in her arms. You keep it, he says. I think I know what to do. He doesn't call his driver. He doesn't take one of the black cars. He walks. The cafe looks the same from the outside. Same windows, same sign, same bell above the door. But the street feels different, quieter, like it remembers what happened here. Daniel pushes the door open. The bell rings. Amara looks up. For a moment, neither of them moves. The world behind her keeps going. Cups clink. A chair scrapes. Someone laughs at a joke he doesn't hear. Daniel holds out a cup of coffee. His hand shakes. I didn't know what else to bring, he says. Amara steps out from behind the counter. She takes the cup. Their fingers brush. She doesn't pull away. You don't look like a man who owns half the city, she says softly. I don't feel like one, he replies. They sit at the same small table. The one near the window. The one that wobbles. No one whispers. No one points. The cafe feels like a cafe again. Just a place where people sit and drink and exist. Amara studies his face. You were kind before the world knew your name, she says. That's the man I trust. Daniel lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. I was scared, he admits. I thought if you saw everything I had, you wouldn't see me anymore. Amara looks down at her hands. And I thought if I saw everything you had, I wouldn't know where I fit. They sit in that truth. Let it rest between them. I don't want to be a headline, Amara says. I don't want to be a story people tell about a rich man who saved a poor woman. Daniel nods. I don't want to be that man. Then don't be, she says. Outside, Lily presses her face to the window, her bear tucked under her arm. She watches her dad sit across from the coffee lady. She watches him talk. She watches him smile, small and careful, like they're holding something fragile. Daniel glances out and sees her. He smiles. Lily waves both hands, big and proud. Amara follows his gaze. Is that your daughter? Daniel nods. That's Lily. She looks like she knows something we don't. Amara says. Daniel stands, walks to the door, opens it. Lily runs in and stops short when she sees Amara. She hides behind Daniel's leg, then peeks out. I'm Lily, she says. Amara kneels down. I'm Amara. Lily looks at her bear, then holds it out. This is for you, she says. My dad gets scared. He needs brave people around him. Amara's eyes fill. She takes the bear like it's something precious. Thank you, she whispers. The days that follow don't make the news. There are no cameras, no interviews, no big speeches. Daniel starts a scholarship program. He puts Amara's name on it, even when she tells him not to. Not for me, he says. For kids who don't get seen. For kids who sit at tables no one else wants. For kids who get told they don't matter. Amara helps choose the first group. She reads every letter. She cries over some of them. She laughs over others. Daniel watches her and feels something shift inside him. Something settle. One afternoon, they stand in a small room at a school. The walls are covered in drawings. The kids line up, nervous and excited. Daniel hands out letters. Amara smiles at each face like she's memorizing them. A boy with shoes too big for his feet looks up at Daniel. Are you rich? He asks. Daniel thinks about it. About buildings. About money. About the bear Lily gave away. About the note on his gate. I'm lucky, he says. The boy nods like he understands. That night, Daniel and Amara sit on a bench outside the cafe. The street is quiet. The lights are soft. You didn't have to do all this. Amara says, I know, Daniel replies. That's why I did. She looks at him. Really looks. The man he was when he walked in with a cheap watch. The man he is now. Sitting here, just a man again. People think money changes everything. She says. Daniel smiles. It doesn't. What does? She asks. He thinks of Lily's bear. The note. The way Amara stood up in a room full of strangers. The way she chose him when he thought he had nothing. People, he says, they sit in the quiet. The kind that feels full instead of empty. Across the street, Lily plays on the sidewalk, her bear gone but her smile wide. She looks back at them and waves. Daniel waves back. The city keeps moving. The towers still reach the sky. The screens still flash names and numbers and stories that fade as fast as they appear. But in one small cafe, and one small scholarship, and one small family that's a little bigger now, something real is happening. And the story doesn't end with wealth changing a life. It ends with dignity changing a man. Because in a world obsessed with what people have, the rarest fortune is who people choose to be.